Alright guys, BLM here, back with a new video, and in this video I'm going to be talking about why you should play 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim. Now, straight up, this is a very impromptu video. I was not planning on making this video, but this is a game that really took me by surprise, and it's a game that I just feel like more people should play, especially if you look at the medium of gaming in a very similar lens to the way I do. 13 Sentinels is a game that is very unique within the video game medium, especially in the way that it tells its story. I do feel like straight up, this is a game that should almost entirely only be played if you are into very complex storytelling within the video game medium. I do feel like if you're trying to play this game for the gameplay element of it, I do feel like you'll be coming out of this very underwhelmed, as I feel like there's just many other games that have similar gameplay systems that execute a lot better. Now, to really just describe what this game is a very difficult task in its own right. The majority of this game is a narrative-based adventure game, a side-scrolling adventure game, which is not something that is super common. Like, obviously, most adventure games, especially now, are kind of more so in the Telltale style format, where you have a character, you walk around an area, you make decisions here and there, and you progress the story. 13 Sentinels is a bit different, where during these adventure sections in the game, you do play as one of the 13 characters within the game, and usually you're playing the same scenario over and over again, but are doing slightly different things in each scenario, and through those scenarios you get some revelations about this story that is occurring. And really, piecing together this game's story is the major highlight for me. I do feel like in many ways that is the most unique element of this game, is the way it presents its story, where the entirety of this game is told in a very non-linear way. The entire story is told in a way that it jumps back and forth between time periods. The game gives you a timeline to keep track of the story of the game, because it is so complex and so really it is tough to follow if you don't know when these events are taking place, if you don't know the context of when these events are taking place. And that is something that, again, really riveted me through this game, is how this game doesn't really hold your hand narratively. It tells the story it wants to tell and gives you these tools to figure out how all these characters and storylines are connected, but not in a way that underhands the story itself. And this non-linear way of telling a story really sets this story up to have so many great reveals. Like, if this story was told in a linear fashion, this story would just simply not be as interesting, as you would know the full context around this world, the full context around how these events are happening and why they're happening. But with the story being told in the order that it is, it allows for you to be left wondering what is actually going on for the majority of the game. And to me, that was the most riveting element of this game. The fact that they're able to keep you intrigued and wondering what is really going on over the course of an over 30-hour narrative is really, really impressive in my eyes. Also, this game has some really great characters to boot. Now, I mean, a lot of them are pretty cliched and definitely have storylines that you can tell were inspired by other pieces of media, but that doesn't make them bad in their own right. They're still pretty great characters and really entertaining figures to carry this game. To me, this game really tells this grand sci-fi narrative that you rarely see in the medium of gaming. While you could argue that there are definitely movies or TV shows that have attempted to tell a story in a similar sort of way that this game tells its story, again, within the medium of gaming, I don't feel like this has been attempted before. And I feel like just because of its narrative, this is a game that should be experienced by anyone that cares for narratives within the gaming medium. But for people that aren't into video game narratives, there is still some gameplay elements to this game, some actual real gameplay. There is an RTS combat system with multiple difficulty levels that allow you to use the Sentinels to fight off against quote-unquote kaiju. They're really just other mechs, but these RTS sections are fine. I mean, I personally am not super into RTS style of games, but I did have some fun with this system here. There are a lot of upgrades that can be made to the mechs to obviously increase its power, increase defense, increase like all these different stats. Like, there is a pretty robust upgrade system in this game. So again, if you're into a more gameplay based game, there is still some room for you within this game. You could try going for completing these combat sections on the highest difficulty. Like, there is some stuff here outside of its core narrative, but I will still say that I do feel like if you are not playing this game for its narrative, I feel like there's probably better RTS games to be playing than this. Especially because the RTS sections are kind of just a backdrop to the game. They are not all unlocked within the game unless you play more of the story. And that's another intriguing element of this game, is how certain storylines aren't unlocked until you complete other storylines. Certain sections within the destruction mode, the mode that has the RTS gameplay, aren't unlocked until you finish some things within the resemblance mode, the story-based gameplay, and vice versa. Again, there is a lot of interconnectivity within these systems that is really intriguing for someone like me, but I can understand if you're someone that is solely into the RTS gameplay, you could get frustrated at that element of this game. But really, when it comes down to it, why you should play 13 Sentinels, it is for its narrative. If you are looking for a pretty complex sci-fi narrative where you're really left wondering what is going on for a good chunk of your experience, this is the game for you. If you are looking for a narrative with really engaging characters and a story where you're piecing things together the entire way through, this is the game for you. If you're not into that, I don't know if I can recommend this game, because that is the bulk of this game, is its story. And it is a great story, but I could see this definitely being a game that isn't for everyone. But for me, it was a game that really took me off guard, and a game that really motivated me to obviously be making this video. And also, I will be doing a spoiler review of this game as well down the line. But for now, that is the video. Thank you for watching.